Welcome to the Spin Axis podcast. I'm Erik Barzeski.
I'm Jayson Nickol.
I'm Tyson Deskins.
This week's topic comes to us from a listener. He said, I was thinking about my golf trip coming up in February to the doesn't matter what area, and I think it'd be a good idea for one of your podcasts would be talking about winter golf trips for Northerners and what they're supposed to do, right? A lot of Northerners work on their golf swings during the winter. It's a good time to make changes. I think we'd all agree on that. But
for sure,
in the middle of changes, January, February, they end up going to Arizona, to Texas, to California, to Florida, to something like that to play some golf. And so how do they play golf in the middle of doing some changes? He gave us a list of some things that I think are good, and we can get to those. But what's off the top of your head? What's the first thing that someone needs to be aware of when they go to play golf in the winter?
Well, for sure, first things is you're there to have fun, right? You got to enjoy that time, enjoy being out, walking outside without wearing a parka or a toque and gloves. So you got to know that going right in. Second thing is, yeah, if you haven't golfed a lot, you're probably not going to be your best round coming up, right? You got to have some expectations linked to you going down there. What is it about? Is it about trying to score your lowest round, or is it just getting out and hitting the ball and seeing it fly more than 12 to 15, feet? But, for me, that's what it is. Like winter golf trips are with buddies and friends and a couple wobbly pops, and you're just watching that ball fly through the air.
Yeah, I think expectation management is huge. Right? You're not working. You're with a group of guys that you probably enjoy being around. You're probably at a place that you've never been to before. Obviously, I think there's a lot of guys that take yearly trips to the same place. That's very common, with people that I work with. But you're at a great facility. You're not at home in the cold. Just go and enjoy yourself and have realistic expectations.
Now, if you're thinking about all right, I've been working on something for a month, 2 months, 3 months. It does depend on what you're working on and how big of a movement is if you're going to be trying to bring something like that onto the golf course, because the amount of pressure that you're now going to ratchet up from maybe you've just been doing foam balls and hitting balls into a screen without the simulator on or with the screen on, and now you're going to try and bring that move out onto the golf course. It may not work the best, right? But if it's a grip change or alignment or something easy, then absolutely you can bring that out there, and it could be a good test of where you're doing that. Is that starting to transfer over onto the golf course?
Yeah, and I think it's a big deal to let's prepare a little bit. Typically, as a Northerner, when we're in this time of the winter, a lot of times we don't move as much. Right? It's colder. We're not outside. It's getting dark at 4:00 in the afternoon. Let's prepare and let's start moving. Just moving our body. Don't have to necessarily go to the gym and do full blown workouts, but if you can get to an indoor place and hit some balls, if you can start walking and moving and getting your body prepared for typically a few days of swinging the golf club quite a bit, I think it also helps just to get your body prepared.
I think one of the things that you can do when you are preparing to go on a golf trip, even if you're in the midst of a swing change or just your 4-month winter project, is still to spend the week before you go, hit some putts if you can, but do more skills practice the week before you go. Learn to hit the center of the face, learn to control your start line, learn to hit some curves. It doesn't mean you're stopping what you're doing for your winter progress or your winter program, but you can switch to, okay, I'm playing in a week. I need to hit the ball solid. I need to hit it on my start line, and I need to make sure it doesn't curve a lot. You can kind of take a break from your winter program, put it on ice for a little bit, no pun intended, and focus on some skills work for a little bit before you go on your trip. And then when you come back, it might set you back a little tiny bit, a week or so, but you can kind of get back into your winter program.
Well, you're probably going to enjoy your rounds better if you do it that way, right? Instead of being sort of stuck on, I have to make a specific move and then I go play like garbage.
Yeah, exactly. And leading up into it, you got to think about it running a race. You can't go from nothing to going and playing 4 or 5 days in a row. Sometimes you play 36 holes in a day. You don't even normally do that in your normal golf game. When you're at home in the middle of summer, you got to get some reps in. You got to hit a couple golf balls. And again, I wouldn't do that a day or so before. I would start 3-4 weeks out. All right, now I'm going to go bang 200, 500 golf balls. You need to get your body prepared to make that many swings. You may not walk, but I mean, you should be walking, you should be doing some physical stuff because most of the, southern states you're going to be taking a cart, but you're going to hit a lot of golf balls and you're going to make a lot of swings. So get prepared so that, when you get down there with your buddies and you play, 18, 36, 36, 18, that your swing is going to get bad and, going to go into expectations. But if you can start preparing for that by hitting a fair amount of golf balls, it'll get your body and you back into the rhythm of, swinging the club a lot. That's going to be something that goes a long way on those golf trips.
Well, what you're talking about there, right, is fatigue. You're going to get tired on these trips. I mean, there's just no way around it. You're going to play a lot of golf. You're probably going to be up late, right? You're going to be throwing back some beers with your buddies, talking about the rounds. You're going to get fatigued, and the science behind when your body gets fatigued, your skill diminishes, right? And so that is a real thing that you're going to have to deal with on one of these trips. And again, everything you can do beforehand, physically, mentally, I think, is only going to benefit you. Because typically people who are asking this question, or guys or girls that are coming in with lessons that are going on these trips, they want to go and they want to play well. There might be one of their buddies they want to beat. They don't want to lose to this guy, right? And it's always fun to have those conversations with those players. First off, I think it's great that somebody's asking the question, how do I get ready for my golf trip? I think that's where it starts.
Yeah, and you can think about this into that when you want to peak again. And you might want to peak in the winter. This is, a lot of people, like Tyson said, this might be your yearly trip with the boys where you meet up with 10, 12, 14, 16 guys, and you want to win the teams and you want to win your single events and stuff like that. So you might be trying to peak for this time, right? Which, again, it's like, all right, make yourself a game plan. Like, don't take 2 months off before you go to this trip, even though it's winter. You should be like continuing your golf season, and then the end of your golf season might be the end of this trip. So going into that, it's like, okay, I've got a game plan. I want to make sure I'm hitting X amount of balls. I want to do my reps. I want to be putting and chipping as best you can. Find ways. I mean, there's lots of, you got a longer putting mat, or you get a little chipping piece of turf, and you can practice this stuff inside. Just because we're locked in and it's minus 30, 40, maybe not 40 for most of us, but you can definitely practice this stuff. And then when you're going to get ready for your trip, a couple of things that I want you to do. If this is like I'm going to play well here, is you should be seeing if you can play those courses on simulators. So a lot of like GS Pro or maybe like TrackMan, depends on what course you're playing. They might have that course. Go play that course a ton. You're going to start at least seeing what it looks like off the tee. It's not going to be exactly the same, but obviously you're not going to be like, okay, dog legs, a lot less, or it's a lot more uphill. Like, most of those courses are really well mapped. Like, and you're going to see, oh, there's a big runoff on that right side of that green. Well, I don't want to aim to that right flag. I'm going to hit it to the middle of the green. Watch your buddies try to go at that right pin, and then it just trickles off the green. These are things that you can do going into it. Use shot pattern.
You should almost never be going at a right pin unless you're 50 yards away anyway. So, aim at the middle of the green, guys. Yeah, or left center if it's a bad situation on the right.
Yeah, just two-pat yourself to death, which is how you're going to win a lot of matches.
Yep.
But yeah, like use shot pattern, like pick your targets before. The more that you can practice this and run it through your head before you get out there, it's just going to benefit for you to play well when you get out there. So you aren't second guessing yourself off tee boxes and, shots into the greens. Like, have a game plan. Even though it's a course you may not ever played before, you should still have a game plan. Now, obviously things can change a little bit, but it shouldn't change so much that it's like drastically different than your game plan.
Yeah. One of the things that I find that my students get the weirdest about when they are working on a swing change, though, over the winter, is they can't hit partial wedges because they only make full swings. And so even if they can, sometimes they go 15 yards farther because their sequencing is better or some of the things they're working on is better. I strongly encourage you, because there's nothing more frustrating than hitting a great drive. Nice little draw down there, 282. I got 87 yards to this hole. And you hit it 98 yards and fly the green, and you're in the back bunker against the back lip. Work on your distance wedges too. Those things seem like, oh, that'll be simple. I can take care of that. But just spend a half an hour even hitting some full three-quarter. Full wedges aren't full wedges, but full wedges, whatever your full wedge is, a three-quarter or a half, whatever system you use to, whether it's the clock system or just regulating the speed through the ball, whatever system you use, figure out how far your distance wedges go.
Yeah, and I think indoors is a great place to do that because you're focused on ball speed, you're focused on the distance, and you're just focused on hitting it solid. And I think actually indoors is a great place to work on those half wedge shots, 3/4 wedge shots, right? Quarter wedge shots. That it kind of surprises people, to be honest, that it's a good place to work on them. And, to Jayson's point, talking about playing the courses on simulators and looking at shot pattern, you're just getting familiar with what you're about to go see. The more familiar you can be, we all know that everybody plays their home course better than other courses. It's because they're so familiar with it. If you show up to a course and it's the first time you've ever seen the hole, that shouldn't be happening in today's world. There's so many tools for us to use that we can actually show up with a game plan and actually know pretty much what the hole is going to look like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's what's shot pattern, Arcos, you use Google Maps. There's so many different, ways of doing it out there right now where it's like you should get some eyes on the ground basically before you get out there. Now, building pressure into your practice leading up into the golf trip. There's a couple different ones. We've got the GS Pro has got their 60 shot bag challenge, if I remember right. Trackman's got the combine. You should have something like that in your game, or just generally play against your friends. You don't want to go from just like practicing hitting shots into all of a sudden now you only got one ball, right? You should have some amount of like revving up the pressure that you're putting onto your golf game is a great way. I mean, if you do the skills competition, you're also going to see where your weak points are, right? So if you do that, and just like Erik said, all of a sudden all your wedges are terrible, on GS Pro, it'd give you like a number. It's like, oh, everything else is, you're shooting in, the 800s or whatever, and all of a sudden your wedges are making you, your total score in the 700s. Well, just work on that, right? And then you've got something to work on, and leading up into that gives you starts giving you confidence into like you've got only one shot and you need to hit that, so that when you get out with your buddies on that golf trip, it's the same thing. You're not just raking another ball, in your studio.
For sure. And I think, one of the things from a mental perspective that I will really harp on players about is trying to not dictate whether you have a great time on your trip solely based off of the golf you play. Everybody's going into this wanting to play great golf. It's a golf trip, but like just enjoy the experience of being able to say that you're out there with your friends and your buddies, and it's memories you're going to have forever. Like obviously bad golf isn't fun. We all know that. It is frustrating. You can still find ways to go out, enjoy your round. Now you have some feedback when you come back and you either get back to work with your instructor. You have a sort of mid-winter set of feedback now. Hey, this worked, that didn't, right? And you can sort of reassess and start back on your plan.
Yeah, exactly. And, when you're taking those cool, hey, I played this course video, get the standard where your buddy's going to hold it down the ball line, but then also sneak one in there for your instructor where you're going to get your buddy to just take a couple steps to the left.
I like that.
Hey, how's this look? And then one from face on. So you have, what does your swing look like under a little bit more pressure out on the golf course? That's a good little tip for people.
Yeah, it's important, though. Do not look at that swing video and go, oh, God, I'm not swinging any of the stuff that I worked on for the past month and a half. I need to start doing this, and then go into practice/golf swing mode. Do not do that.
So hard.
Just get the ball in the hole and play golf. You can offset. How many full swings do you make in a round of golf? How many full swings?
Man, that's
Depends on your score, I guess.
Yeah. How many full swings on average?
Let's say 40.
Less than that.
35.
Yeah,
30?
It's usually about 30 for people, because if you shoot 80, 35 of them are putts. So we're down to 45. You're hitting a lot of chips. You're missing greens.
Yep.
So you're hitting 9 chips. You're down to 36. You're near some par 4s or some par 5s in 1 or 2. And so you're hitting partial shots there.
Sure.
So about 30 full swings. 30 full swings, you play 5 rounds of golf. That's 150 shots. 150 shots is not enough to take you back to square one. You're not going to lose that much progress on what you've done over the winter so far by playing 5 rounds of golf and making full swings. You do not need to practice. You don't need to go to the range afterward and work on your practice to get that out of your system or to go back to where you were or anything like that. So just play golf. I tell my students that are going on a trip, or the students that are working on things, even early season, when they're still kind of tidying up some things, but they're playing events that aren't like super important. It's not like they're major for the year. It's not July, August, it's April. I say you get one swing thought. And I tell that to people even in August too, but you get one swing thought. Take care of your script, take care of your setup. That doesn't count. That's not a swing thought. That's just a checklist. Right. You get one swing thought. And a swing thought is not a sentence. something that takes a while to describe. It's a feel, and a feel is an instant or a motion that you need to make in the whole golf swing. So you get one swing thought or one feel. Occasionally, I'll let someone have a backswing and a downswing one, or occasionally they might have a different one. They might have a different one for their driver that they have for their irons or something like that. But they get one if it helps them. If it becomes a burden, if it becomes too much, they don't get that one. They just have to go through their checklist at setup and grip and alignment and things like that, and then get the ball in the hole and hit it towards their target, and that could be their swing thought. The target is there. I'm making the ball go there, and that's all they get.
Yeah.
But otherwise, one swing thought, not 17 things. Not like, oh God, my wrist did this on that one, and I didn't do this with my knee, and I didn't shift forward, and I fatted that one, so now I need to... None of that. One thing, stick with it. If it doesn't work, throw it out and go with 0.
Yeah. And also, as your trip goes on, if you're playing multiple rounds of golf, your swing might change. So just be aware of that. Like, you might start with hitting a little draw, and then all of a sudden it turns into straight ball. And then by the 5th day, it's now a fade. Or you might start with a fade and it turns into like a 30-yard fade / slice. Just play that, right? Don't try and fix it too much unless you have something that you know is going to do that, then absolutely implement that. But for the most part, just pick smart targets, swing it, and get the ball in the hole. Like Erik said, you don't have to overcomplicate it while you're on the golf course.
Yeah, I think, first off, let's go have fun. At the end of the day, enjoy these trips. A lot of people would love to go on trips that can't. So go have fun, enjoy it, use it for some feedback. As Erik said, I think a lot of people are scared that they're going to go backwards. The reality is, when we work on our swing, we never get rid of the old move. It's sort of like when you delete a file from the computer, it's never really gone, right? It's still there. We're just always training the new move. That's all.
Yep.
And so don't be afraid to go backwards. Go enjoy it, have fun. And at the end of the day, you use it for feedback and make the rest of the season better.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for sending in that question. That was awesome, and I think most of us actually have some trips coming up, so we'll try and implement some of that and use our own advice. But in the end, yeah, absolutely, just be out there, have fun. Thanks for listening. If you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to us on all social medias at The Spin Axis, or you can get us online at thespinaxis.com.
Bring back some sunshine.
Please.